Yo, what a game. The New Orleans Saints pull off a nail-biting win over the Kansas City Chiefs 26-24. I don't care if it's preseason. Every game is a game, all right? I'm not going to really speak too much, I'm just going to look at the stats and then get my thoughts, all right? Let's start on the Saints side of things, all right? Jameis Winston had a good game. 11 for 13, 92 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. And one thing I noticed, every single quarterback that played today had had a touchdown. Okay? And Jameis Winston, he played pretty good. He sure did. I feel like what he could have done better is sliding. He has to work on his sliding. Like, I thought he was about to get a torn ACL. And also, he has to get his awareness up. I mean, he's not going to start anyway, but, Then Jake Haener, right? He played pretty good. Jake Haener, 10 for 17, 105 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Had a bad pick, but it led us to that game-winning drive. To be fair, he had a game-winning drive that didn't give us the lead because our defense got us the ball inside the red zone already, but it's hot. But now the man, the myth, the legend, the statue, Derek Carr, 6 of 8, 70 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. If he would have played more than one drive, we would have destroyed the Chiefs by 30. But I'm still cool with it. Derek Carr, he's going to have an amazing season. So to all those haters hating on Derek Carr, keep that same energy when Derek Carr steamrolls your favorite team. Russian, Jamal Williams, 9 carries for 28 yards, had a 3-point average yards a carry, and 0 touchdowns. Jamal Williams, he did pretty good. I'm proud of what I saw from Jamal Williams. Because if we don't sign Kareem Hunt, you're going to be our starting running back for weeks 1 to 3. So we need you getting ready as much as possible, okay? Ellis Merriweather had 9 carries, 24 yards, 2.7 yards a carry, and 0 touchdowns. I like it. Ellis Merriweather played pretty good, especially in the receiving game, which we'll get to in a few minutes. Ellis Merriweather played pretty great. Or I'm not going to say great. He played pretty good. He could have done some better things. Like I think he dropped a pass. But he did pretty good. Alright, and then Alvin Kamara. 3 carries, 14 yards, 4.7 yards a carry, which is pretty good, and 0 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara, obviously, this is probably going to be the last time we see him until week 4. I don't know if we're going to play the starters next week, but I won't be surprised if we do. Alvin Kamara played pretty good. Obviously, he only had 1 drive to prove himself. But people are like, oh, he only got 14 yards off of 3 rushes. He averaged 4.7 yards carry. That's essentially 5 yards carry. That's pretty good. And then Jake Haener. Let's get to Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston had 2 carries for 14 yards, 7 yards a carry, and 0 touchdowns. Jameis, work on your sliding, especially in the run game. Work on your sliding. Because if Derek Carr gets hurt, or something happens, we need you to step up. We do not need you getting injured on a torn ACL. We do not need you getting injured for the 3rd year in a row. Alright, then Jake Haener, 1 carry for 8 yards, 8 yards a carry, 0 touchdowns. I'm not really going to judge his rushing ability. Like I said, I don't really like rushing QBs a lot, but Jake Haener, I like the effort. And then Kendre Miller, 4 carries, 5 yards, 1.2 yards a carry, and 0 touchdowns. Kendrick Miller, I didn't hear, went to the locker room with an injury. I hope that's not a sign of things to come for him. But, we'll see. Now let's get on to the receiving game, and I have a whole lot of names to say. A.T. Perry played amazing today. 6 receptions, 70 yards, 11.7 average yards a reception, and 1 touchdown. A.T. Perry played phenomenal. Alright? He was making plays. It doesn't, he was playing with Jameis Winston, right? Jameis Winston was delivering this man the ball. A.T. Perry was balling, right? And then, man, I feel like he is our number 4 receiver. I feel like it's Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and A.T. Perry. But I won't be surprised if our top 3 receivers, ending the season, will be Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, and A.T. Perry. Because Shaheed's more of a deep threat guy, but good stuff, A.T. Perry. Next, Bryan Edwards. 3 receptions, 37 yards, 12.3 average yards per reception, and 0 touchdowns. Good stuff, Bryan Edwards. That was an amazing game by you. Bryan Edwards, every time he made a play, we could see it. That man, he was going on streaks. Well, not streaks. He was taking the middle of the field, and he was doing it perfectionistly. Alright, Kawan Baker is probably going to get cut because he always gets cut. That ain't going. He actually last season wasn't even on the team. I think he was on the Packers or something. And then, obviously, we drafted him in the 7th round a couple years ago. Yeah. But Kawan Baker, 2 receptions, 30 yards, 15 yards of reception, 0 touchdowns. He wasn't doing too many plays, but he was pretty good, okay? Juwan Johnson, that first drive is all we saw from him. But he had 2 receptions, 29 yards, 14.5 yards a reception, and 0 touchdowns. That first drive, Derek Carr was lighting it to Juwan Johnson. Juwan Johnson kept pulling in the ball. Alright. Alvin Kamara, 2 receptions, 21 yards, 10.5 yards a reception, and 0 touchdowns. I like that, Alvin Kamara. This season, from week 4 all the way to week 18, I want us to call a lot of screenplays for Alvin Kamara. Next, Shaquan Davis. 2 receptions, 20 yards, 10 yards of reception, 0 touchdowns. To be honest, I don't even know who you are. Maybe you'll do it. I don't know. Then Ellis Merriweather. 2 receptions, 17 yards, 8.5 yards of reception, and 1 touchdown. Good stuff, Ellis Merriweather. Merriweather, I won't be surprised, makes the team. Then we got Michael Thomas, who had 1 reception, 16 yards reception, and 0 touchdowns. Michael Thomas, even though he only had 1 catch, it was an amazing catch. That man made a catch, and he was literally getting tackled right as soon as he caught the ball, right? And then my boy, Jimmy Graham, 1 reception, 10 yards of reception, 0 touchdowns. Jimmy Graham, I know he made a great catch today. Man, this season's going to be good for him. Alright, and then John Trey Kirkland, who we just signed, I think, last week. 1 reception, 5 yards a catch, and 0 touchdowns. He didn't really do too many plays, but hey, he got that catch, right? Alright, then Keith Kirkwood, 1 reception, 4 yards a catch, and a touchdown. He did have that opening touchdown, which is pretty good. And then he played a bit in the 2nd drive, maybe 3rd drive as well. But he wasn't really catching anything, so yeah. And then Lynn Bowden, 1 reception, 3 yards a carry, and 0 touchdowns. It was a good. Well, Lynn Bowden, he made a good catch. You know, I think to get us to the goal line, I think. So that's cool. Then Jake Vargas, 1 reception, 2 yards, 2 yards to carry, 0 touchdowns. Don't really care. Taysom Hill had 1 reception, 2 yards, 2 yards to carry, and 0 touchdowns. Yeah, we had him on a tight end play, obviously, and he was honestly pretty good on that play. Then Kendre Miller, 1 reception, 1 yard, 1 yard to carry, 0 touchdowns. I'm not really going to judge him on that. Now let's look at the defense. Anthony Ori, 3 tackles, no sacks, no picks. Alright, I like that you're tackling, but let's get to the quarterback next time, okay? Alright. Ryan Conley, 2 total tackles, 2 assisted tackles, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. That's cool. That's cool. Ryan Conley was making plays. Ryan Conley, I saw you. Ryan Conley was out there making plays. Alright, Ty Summers, 2 tackles, 0 assists, 1 sack, 0 interceptions. Ty Summers was making plays, man. Ty Summers, you are making this team. If you get cut, I don't know what Dennis Allen was thinking. Ty Summers was playing pretty good, bro. If Zach Bond, who I'm about to get to in a second, doesn't work out, put Ty Summers in, bro. Alright, next, speaking of Zach Bond, he had 2 tackles, 1 assist, 1 sack, and 0 interceptions. Zach Bond played pretty good. Like, Zach Bond, I don't think was in too many coverage packages, but when he was not really playing well. But Zach Bond, though, was tackling people. Okay, then Jordan Howden, he had 2 tackles, 0 assists, 0 sacks, 0 picks. I expected him to have a better performance, but he is a rookie, and he was in the 5th round, I believe. You know, let's see what he can do. Then Troy Pride had 2 tackles, 1 assist, 0 sacks, and 0 picks. You know, Troy Pride, he was making some plays, but just not enough, but it's all right. Smoke Monday, 2 tackles, 0 assists, 0 sacks, 0 picks. Smoke Monday, I love you. He is a hard-hitting safety. He didn't really have the best performance. He didn't play terrible. He played pretty average, but I still have high hopes for him. Next, JT Gray, 2 tackles, 0 assists, 0 sacks, and 0 picks. He's more of a special teams guy, so I don't really care. Alontae Taylor, 2 tackles, 0 assists, 0 sacks, 0 picks. Taylor, he made a couple plays, but he did get burnt. Right, he did get burnt, which wasn't really good. He got cooked, bro. But at least he recuperated. Next, DeMarco Jackson, he had a tackle, an assist, 0 sacks, and 0 picks. DeMarco Jackson, he was actually amazing. He was out there making hits on special teams, bro. Alright, Ugo Amadi, he had a tackle, 0 assists, 0 sacks, and 1 interception. He had that tip drill pass where I don't know who the quarterback was at the time, but whoever the Chiefs quarterback was threw it up. I think Alontae Taylor tipped it up in the air, and Ugo Amadi made the play. He's making this team too. All right, Paulson Adebo, 1 tackle, 1 assist, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. I didn't really see him make any I didn't really see him make plays, but yeah. All right, Isaac Yiadom, 1 tackle, 1 assist, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. Yeah, Yiadom, he played alright. Kyle Phillips is the guy who changed his game. Kyle Phillips, 1 tackle, 0 assists, 0 sacks, and 1 interception. That interception was basically why we won. Where I don't know. The Chiefs quarterback, I don't know why they even threw it on 3rd and 8, because we had no timeouts. If they ran the ball, they probably would have won. But then Kyle Phillips caught it, and that basically let us win the game. Alright, Jonathan Abram had 1 tackle, 0 assists, 0 sacks, and 0 interceptions. I didn't really see him on the field a lot. I mean, obviously it's the preseason. Tyrann Mathieu, 1 tackle, 0 assists, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. Cool. Lonnie Johnson played pretty terrible, though. 1 tackle, 0 assists, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions for Lonnie Johnson. You played terrible. You kept getting burnt. The quarterback was running all over you. You were getting destroyed. Please play better in the regular season if you even make the team. Right now, you're probably fighting for a practice squad roster spot. All right. Tano Campasino, 1 tackle, 0 assists, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. Didn't really see him on the field, so yeah. All right. Bradley Roby, get this man off the team. Bradley Roby, 1 tackle, 0 assists, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. Get Bradley Roby's trash ass off this team. That man allowed a touchdown when he wasn't even looking at the receiver. He didn't even know what he was supposed to do. All right, Nafai Sewell, 0 tackles, 1 assist, 0 sacks, and 0 interceptions. All right, Sewell did make a big play at the end of that game to basically give us a chance. All right, Colin Saunders, he was all right. 0 tackles, 2 assists, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. That's cool. Nick Anderson, is that the dude from Tulane? I don't really remember. But he had 0 tackles, 1 assist, 0 sacks, and 0 interceptions. Peyton Turner played pretty good. He had 0 tackles, 2 assists, 0 sacks, 0 picks. That man did a crazy spin move, though, on one of the plays, which was crazy, bro. All right, Pete Werner, 0 tackles, 2 assists, 0 sacks, and 0 interceptions. Pete Werner played all right, you know. Man, he played pretty good that first possession, okay? Malcolm Roach, 0 tackles, 2 assists, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. He was all right. Carl Granderson, 0 tackles, 1 assist, 0 sacks, and 0 interceptions. Cool. Cam Jordan, 0 sacks, 1 assist, 0 tackles, or 0 sacks. No, 0 tackles, 1 assist, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. Alright. That man should just never retire. That man's gonna die at this point. That man has a grudge on time itself. Why do they have Lynn Bowden stats? I don't know. Alright, well, Nick Lalos, 0 tackles, 0 assists, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. Cool. I don't even know who you are, to be honest with you. Marcus May, 0 sacks, or 0 tackles, 0 assists, 0 sacks, 0 picks. Alright. Now let's go to our kick return game. We had some amazing returns today. John Trey Kirkland had 3 returns for 72 yards and 24 yards a return and 0 touchdowns. He was a good kick returner today. Lynn Bowden, 1 return for 20 yards, averaged 20 yards a return and 0 touchdowns. And then Kendra Miller even had 1 return, 16 yards return, and 0 touchdowns. All right, for punt returns, we had Lynn Bowden. He had 2 returns for 30 yards, 15 yards a return, and 0 touchdowns. Then kicking, Blake Group was 1 for 1 on field goals, 100%. His longest was a 31-yarder, and he scored 3 points. Will Lutz, he was 1 for 1 for field goals on the day. He had 100%. His longest field goal was a 36-yarder and had 5 points. Then punting, Lewis Headley, however you say his name, 4 punts, 158 yards, averaged 39.5 yards a punt, and had 1 punt inside the 20. That's cool. And Blake Gillikin, 3 punts, 114 yards, 38 yards per punt, and 1 punt inside the 20. Blake Gillikin, you have to work on your punting. There was a couple punts where that gave the Chiefs the ball at the 50, okay? Now let's see what the Chiefs did where our defense can improve and not let up, okay? So the Chiefs played 4 quarterbacks, okay? Shane Buccelli, 11 of 18, 155 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Chris Oladukan, first of all, Shane Buccelli, that man had a crazy play at the end of the 3rd quarter on the last play. That man scrambled outside and avoided all the sacks and threw an amazing touchdown. I gotta give props to her, dude. That was an amazing play. And then they acted like they won the game off of that. Like, that was crazy. Even though it was with no time left, they're acting like it was with no time left in the fourth quarter or overtime or whatever. But yeah, Chris Aladukan, he played pretty terrible, I'm not going to lie. He was 5 of 12, 52 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. He played pretty terrible. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Blaine Gabbert, 4 of 8, 59 yards, a touchdown and no picks. And then Patrick Mahomes was 2 of 2, 15 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Alright. I'm just going to go over the passing stats. Alright. Alright, guys. It's just a preseason, so I'm not going to go over team stats or anything. But I'll be back with you with more videos. Who dat?